What is going on, my fellow nerds? Operator Otter here, and today we're going to be talking about the best masterworking strategies to obtain your Obducite and your Forgotten Souls. Yes, strategies, not just the best strategy. And the reason that we're going to be talking about this is that with the most recent patch update, we're able to take our extra spectral ash and turn it into reputation. And the strategy has been to take that reputation, make an alternate, and level up your board to get your resplendent sparks to get your mythics. Well, now most people have their mythics. The next step is actually upgrading that gear to masterwork, because there are many builds in Diablo 4 that require very specific breakpoints in order for them to function, and we need masterworking to do that. So, what's the best masterworking strategies? Well, this is where things get a bit complicated, because the objective best way to farm a specific masterworking material may be locked behind the fact that it's a limited material that you can't trade for. It could also be locked behind the fact that in order to get it, you have to trade. It could be the fact that, well, there's one build that's better at doing this activity than another build, and therefore their performances on said task are different. And it could be that you just don't want to do that activity. What's the next best thing? And so that's really what this video is about. What are the different strategies to obtaining masterworking materials so that I can be as efficient as possible without losing the aspect of having fun playing the game? To do this, we need to first discuss some foundational topics like, where do I find this sheet? How do I navigate across this sheet? What type of player am I? How did you gather the data? How can I implement this data to my playstyle? So where can you access this document? In the description below, there is a link to a Google Docs sheet that will take you here, and now you have every form of access to view everything on it. I will not give you access to edit it, so don't ask, but if you want, you can make your own copy and do whatever you want with it from there. Once you are here to navigate this sheet, all you need to do is go to the bottom here, and there will be multiple tabs. If you click right here onto strategies, it will take you a tab that will tell you the best strategies for getting the specific masterworking material based on the type of player you are, and you can go from there. But let's say that you actually specifically want to do something like pure nightmare dungeons. Well, what dungeons are the best, Otter? Well, if you go to nightmare dungeons, you can see a complete list of all of the best dungeons that there are and the average obducite per hour that you will get based on the type of player you are. And this is not just for nightmare dungeons, this is all for something for infernal hordes. Well, when I'm doing infernal hordes, Otter, what are the best boons that I can get? Here you go. Here's a tier list for you. So each of these tabs has relevant data and relevant strategies on them that could be important to you as the player after you choose the specific strategy that you would like to do in the strategies tab. As for incursions, I don't make the rules. I'm just giving you the information. Next, we need to discuss a topic I've brought up a couple times, which is the type of player that you are. And the reason being is because the efficiency of specific masterworking activities actually changes depending on the type of player that you are. So let's define them. Our first type of player is the elite player. This is a player that plays 30 hours a week, has an advanced understanding and execution of their build. Their build is usually 12 out of 12 masterworks with multiple double crit masterworks, and at this point they're just trying to triple crit their gear. And they define fun as efficiency, meaning what's the most fun to them is being as efficient as possible. Our next group is our core players. This is a player that plays 15 to 25 hours a week, has a solid understanding and execution of their build. Their build is usually 8 out of 12 masterwork with a couple 12 out of 12s. They are willing to play things efficiently for a specific amount of time, but eventually there is a line that is drawn where they want to play the activity that they deem is the most fun. Our last group is our casual player. This is a player that plays the game 10 hours a week or less, has a basic understanding and execution of their build. Their build is 4 out of 12 masterwork with maybe a couple 8 out of 12s, and the priority of the game is what's fun, not efficient. Efficiency is not a focus at the cost of enjoying the game. The reason it's important that you identify yourself as a specific type of player is because the masterworking activities changes in their efficiency depending on the type of player that you are. For example, if we look into our strategies tab, we can see that the third most efficient way to get Obducite for an elite player is going to be pure nightmare dungeons. Whereas for a casual player, pure nightmare dungeons are the least efficient way to get Obducite. This is because nightmare dungeons scale very heavily in the power of your build, your skill in playing the build, and your knowledge of the dungeon. Vice versa, we can see it the second most efficient way for a casual player to obtain Obducite is to do 3 10-wave infernal hordes, and then with the 2 tribute of refinements that they find from the chest, split them with a buddy to run a total of 4 tribute of refinement runs. The same could not be said for an elite player though, because though this is the second most efficient way to get Obducite for a casual player, for an elite player, this is the fourth most efficient way to get Obducite. The reason being is that in Infernal Hordes, there is diminishing returns on the Aether to Obducite transmutation rate, meaning that the more powerful you become, the less value you obtain from Horde runs. Lastly is the matter of the build that I used to gather all of this data on, and for that I used a personal speed variant of the Lightning Spear Sork that can be found right here. You can go ahead and pull up this page and this will give you the planner, and then to the right you can see that this is my gear in game. Yes, every single piece of gear is triple hit on the Masterwork, and that is because that, well, through this project I was able to attain a lot of masterworking materials, and I used them to make my gear pretty big. Now that we have those foundational topics out of the way, let's go over some of the strategies that are going to be the best for each player, and then from there, y'all can delve into the data and have a grand old time, all right? For the elite player, the best is going to be just pure tribute runs. No shocker there. The problem with Tribute of Refinement is they're limited, you can't trade for them, and it's actually pretty hard to put a party together. Yeah, four-person public tribute refinements are really hard to put together. So I like doing two-person. I'll just grab a homeboy, be like, hey, you want to do some refinements? They say, come in, yeah. And you just split the tribute refinements and go for it. After that one, the splitting of the Nightmare Dungeons and tributes is really good. You have a 10% chance for a Tribute of Refinement to drop from the completion of a Nightmare Dungeon. So if you do 30 Nightmare Dungeons, you should average to have about 3. You and your homeboy then take those 3, split them, and you do 6 pure Tribute runs. After that, it's just pure Nightmare Dungeon. Turns out that when your build is cranking, Nightmare Dungeons actually become pretty efficient. 45,000 Obducite in 60 minutes is pretty good when it doesn't have anything to do with Tribute of Refinement. For my core players out there, pure Tribute of Refinement runs are still going to be the best for you, and then after that, it will be the same. You want to split, you're going to do 20 Nightmare Dungeons now with 4 Tribute runs instead. The build isn't quite as powerful as the elite players. That's totally okay. It's just, hey, this is still an option, but this is something that you should aim for, being about 30 Obducite per hour doing that. After that, you're going to do 3 Wave 10 Infernal Hordes going for the Hellborn strategy. The Hellborn strategy can be found in the Infernal Hordes data. This is your Hellborn strategy right here. Pre-Wave 6, these are the boons you're looking for, and post-Wave 6, this is the boons you are looking for. So just make sure that you're doing that, and then what happens is that when you get to the end and you open up the chest, it's a 50% chance that you're going to get a Tribute of Refinement. So you should be able to get 1 to 2 of them, and then from there you split the runs with your homeboy and call it good. For my casual players out there, pure Tribute runs is still the best, and then from there, it's either 3 Wave 10 Infernal Hordes with the Hellborn strategy, or 5 Wave 6 Infernal Hordes, because it doesn't matter if it's a Wave 6 or a Wave 10, and it doesn't matter how much Aether you get. When you open that chest at the end, it is a 50% chance that you can get that Tribute of Refinement. So the idea is, why don't we just do more Hordes, get more Tributes, and then just run more Tributes within that hour, is basically the idea. And both are still very good options, but the better option is going to be your 3 Wave 10s plus your tribute runs. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about our Forgotten Souls farming strategies, and I'm just going to break the ice. For all 3 types of players, the top 2 strategies are either going to be pure Belial farming or pure Initiate boss farming. Turns out killing bosses in Season of the Bosses is the most efficient way to get masterworking materials. Who would have guessed? But the real reason for this is that every single time you kill a boss, you're going to get 7 to 8 Forgotten Souls. And on top of that, you're going to get Reputation and Spectral Ash. And with the most recent update, that Spectral Ash can turn into Reputation. You take that Reputation, you turn it into the Seasonal Vendor, you get caches, and each of those caches has 37 Forgotten Souls in them on average, which just makes it a very hard strategy to compete with in terms of getting souls per hour. The main issue is the sheer amount of materials it takes to run that many bosses within an hour. If we go to our boss data here, we can see that for the elite players, you're going to need 272 Belial materials to kill Belial 136 times within that hour. And even for the core and casual player who may not want to engage in Belial, if they want to go into Initiate layer bosses, it's going to take over 1,000 to actually run that many bosses within that hour. And that means that realistically, the only sustainable way that you're going to be able to kill that many bosses within that hour is to engage within the trade system. Thing is, many people don't want to do that. So what is the next best option if we do not want to trade? From there, it's going to be running your Tributive Titans. If you take that, run it with a party, and then take the boss materials from there and then go kill the bosses, that is another great option. The next best option after that is the first Helltide strategy. If we go to our Helltides data, this is strategy number 1. It's basically go sit on Blood Maiden until you have enough Cinders to go open up all the chests and come back to Blood Maiden and sit on Blood Maiden until the end of the Helltide. It's not exactly realistic because it takes a lot of hearts to do that, and you need to consistently consistently cycle people through to do that, but it is the next best option. Those are all the strategies for our masterworking ventures. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave that like or comment below. Next video right here is going to be for those newcomers or people who are returning, or even people who really want to harness those skills in terms of actually doing each of those activities efficiently. So if that's the case, I'll see you there. Otherwise, have yourselves a wonderful day. Operator Otter.